Om Tatsaviturvaram Rupam Jyoti Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Dhipale. Let us meditate on the most auspicious form of Savitri, on the light of the Supreme. We shall illumine us with the truth. So we will start with part 2, the opening book, the book of birth and quest, Savitri's arrival on the earthly scene, how it happened, what compelled her mortal birth is what is described in the earlier pages here. 93.1. Pardon me?
93.1.
Yeah.
93.
The birth and childhood of the planet.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Next. There you are. Now, before we come to the birth of Savitri, let us say what happened just little before this canto to build up the sequence of how the narrative is developing in the epic here. Essentially, very briefly, Ashwapati has a rendezvous with the Divine Mother. He is standing at the top of this creation and she is coming from the transcendental down below. So the meeting is not exactly in the transcendent. Ashwapati is still in the lower hemisphere, but he is looking up and she is coming down. And of course, he prays to her that the prayer is very significant, that she should come down here and solve the problem of this mortal creation. Unless she takes mortal birth, this cannot be solved. Well, that is the immediate way of putting things, but it also means that it is only through her that the new creation can be established here on the earth. The evolution can go forward only after her taking the mortal birth here. And she condescends with initial hesitation. She was not very spontaneously, immediately responding, but she does finally concede his prayer and she comes down here. Now, what happens there is something very interesting. See, as I said, she is coming from here, he is climbing up here, and on the threshold mind, the meeting is taking place. On the threshold mind, at the top of mind, bordering on the supermind. Yes. It is there, because it is from here the prayer has to rise. It is from there the answer has to come. The call and the answer, the response has to come. Now, just a couple of things I will say here. After granting the boon to Ashwapati, she goes back to her transcendental world and he comes down here. Now, the way in which the description is here is in the earlier section, 92.1. as a flame disappears in endless light. Just two sentences. .92. 92. This is 92.1. This is 9.
Point 1, okay.
Section 4.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. We'll have to press due to speed. Yeah. As a flame disappears in endless light, immortally extinguished in its source, vanished the splendor and was stilled the world. Now what it means is that she is standing there and she is withdrawing to her abode. Splendor is personifying the Divine Mother herself here. Now he says, as a flame disappears in light. See what happens, there is a flame here. Now when the light becomes brighter and brighter, brighter and brighter, brighter and brighter, the flame disappears. It means it does not become visible. Not that it has gone away, it is there, but it is not visible. It is in that sense, she is receding into the brightness and brightness and brightness. What a beautiful simile you see of description of how she disappears, you see. As a flame disappears in endless light, immortally extinguished, because it's not there. She's there, immortally, always there, immortally extinguished in its source, from the absolute, from where she had come. She has gone into that thing, you see. Vanished the splendor and was stilled the word. The word was stilled means she had given the boon to him and everything has now become silent. So she has gone back. Now what happens to Ashwapati? Little later on, down below, 92.8, last sentence. Across the light of fast receding plains that fled from him as from a falling star. See, he is coming now as a falling star. It's a free fall practically for him. He is coming.
Back down.
Back down to the earth. Back to the earth. He's coming down. Like a falling star, he's coming. And what happens? When the falling star comes, the planes start receding.
Yes, of course.
As if the planes now from which is coming, they start receding back. It is a relativity in the vertical dimension. You are traveling in the train or the car and you see that the trees and all the mountainscapes, etc., they are going behind you. Here, he is coming here. It's not he is coming. It is as if the planes are receding back to see there to see. Across the light of fast receding plane that fled from him as from a falling star, compelled to fill his human house in time. This is the important thing. He has come back now to the human house. He has been sort of compelled. He has to come here and do the thing which she has asked him to do. She has asked him, all right, I will come and take him out of birth. All right. She has to come back to the human scene. His soul drew back into the speed and noise of the vast business of created things. So he is back into the bus, into the activity, human activity here like that. And it is in that process then Savitri is conceived, because he has come back to the earth, you see. That's the important point. And he has taken the A1 position now. He is no more that yogi standing there. He has to fulfill what he has asked for to do, you see. Or the vast business of created thing, a chariot of marbles of the heavens, broad-based to bear the gods on fiery wheels. How is it coming? Like a chariot. Who are the riders in the chariot? The gods themselves. They are coming now. Broad-based to bear the gods on fiery wheels, flaming, he swept through the spiritual gates. He is coming down to the spiritual gates. And then, later on, toward the end, he says, the Lord of life resumed his mighty rounds, the scanned field of the ambiguous globe, this uncertain thing, this vague world, uncertain world. He has resumed his work in this mortality, in this vagueness here. Now he says here, the Lord of life. Lord of life is the literal translation of the word Ashwapati.
Lord of life is Ashwapati.
Lord of life, Ashwapati. Ashwa means life force, horse. Ashwa means horse, and horse stands for life force.
Yeah.
And Pati means the Lord. So here he is now the real Ashwapati. He is the Lord of life. Everything is now fully under his control. And with that realization, with that siddhi, with that mastery, whatever you want to call it, he is now resuming the work in his creation. So that is the beginning, that is the background of how things now are going to happen here in the next canto. The next canto begins with the description of the seasons.
Yeah.
The description of the seasons. According to the Indian pattern or the moment of the year, we have 6 seasons. And we have here now the description of the 6 seasons immediately at the beginning of this canto, or this book also. Now the important point is this: why does the poet begin with the description of the seasons? Which is kind of natural, you see. I mean, it is simply luxuriating in poetry. Either there is some purpose, either some meaning, some idea behind the description of the season, or is he just taking this thing as an occasion to let himself go as a poet? Which cannot be so, of course. It cannot be so, of course. The one way, in fact, there are a number of aspects connected with this. One of the aspects is she is coming upon earth. Savitri is going to take human birth. Now, until now, Ashwapati was face to face with the Divine Mother, the Transcendental Mother, who lives in eternity. Now that eternity has to manifest herself in time. So the first step is from the eternal into the temporal. That is the first thing. Therefore, immediately the transition is described by what is that eternal, what is that temporal period. And the pattern of seasons immediately follows here. How do you describe time? Now, when you talk of time, it is what you would call the cyclic time, periodic time. And in number of places, Shivandu speaks of the necessity of the periodic time in his prose writings. For instance, in the Synthesis of Yoga, he speaks of the 4 aids for doing yoga. Shastra, then Shastra means scripture or guidance or whatever you call it. And then your urge to do things, utsaha. And then the third one is Guru, the teacher, and then time. He speaks of time. Time and its periods, and its cycles. It doesn't say linear time, which goes in cycles. So that is one of the aids also. In other words, the role of time here is also connected with the development of our yogic consciousness. And it is from that angle you have to see why he is describing this cyclic time, basically, you see, periodic time. That is one way of looking at it. She from the eternal is stepping into time, which is cyclic because it has to move forward through various stages like that. Now, in the Indian tradition, we have what are called yugas. Yuga means cycles of periods of time. From one yuga to the other yuga, there are transitions of consciousness, and it is that big transition of consciousness which is going to occur here in this case here. Therefore, he is initiating the description of time as a part of the cycle of things. See. Now, in the Vedas, there is a very clear distinction, very clear mention of what is called that the year is the body of the Supreme. The body of the Supreme is the year, is manifestation. The body of the Supreme.
Yes.
That is ear. What is ear?
What
It is the
is
body of the
ear?
Supreme.
Here. 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 One here.
Why ear? Here.
Ani.
Of the Supreme.
Yeah,
It is
ani. Okay.
so it is the body of the Supreme into which things are going to happen here. You see.
Of course, yes.
Here, and therefore the complete cycle is described here. Now, so ear or the ear as the body of the Supreme, in other words, it is in its physical. Now things had to happen, which is important. Savitri's birth is connected with the things which should happen in the physical.
Of course.
That is her yogic work.
Yes.
That is her yogic work actually. Yeah. And therefore the opening section is very, very purposefully, so to say, yogically packed, occultly deep, connected with the things which had to happen in the process of physical transformation because of her coming into time. Into time, you see. The yoga, that is one way of, that is one manner of speaking, so to say, because we are all only people who can think and rationalize, so to say. But that is one way of looking at it. But here, a cycle means the complete movement of the occurrences which do take place in the terrestrial process. Cycle, it is not that go from here and terminate it, it repeats. The repetition is for a further growth. That is important. Therefore, all that thing has to happen in 1 year. It means that it is now going to go to the next step. That is the whole basis of description of the seasons here. Now, apart from that, there is something very interesting also. The description here in Savitri starts with the description of summer. So first is the summer, then comes rain, then comes autumn, then comes winter, then comes frost, and then comes spring. This is the sequence of 6 seasons according to the Indian traditions of these 6 seasons. So these 6 seasons are described here in that manner, sequentially. Summer, then rain, then autumn, then winter, then frost, and then spring. The Indian names are Grishma. I don't know if you would like to know. Grishma, that is the summer, then Varsha, rain, then autumn, Sharad, then comes winter, Hemanta, then comes Shishir, frost, and after Shishir comes Vasanta. Vasanta is spring. That is roughly the description of the 6 seasons here. Now these 6 seasons, very roughly speaking, start, we might say in a general way. For instance, summer, you have to allow a little latitude here and there, roughly from April, May. It can be even May, June, or mid-May, June, like that, for 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, like that, you see. So it starts from roughly April, May, around that time, and the whole cycle comes to a completion in spring, in the description here. We should terminate February, March. If you start with April, then the cycle will be terminated in February, March. Now, it is in March, it is in February that the mother's birthday occurs. So he is indirectly also describing her stepping. It is very biographical in that sense. He is describing, keeping that view, why it starts with summer and ends with spring. Because it is around that time that the birth of the mother occurs. In February, almost towards the end, March, that is the springtime, roughly speaking, you see. So the pattern is very clear, is very indicative of all these details in a way. You see how he has chosen and described these aspects of this music. So it is really the birth of the mother. You might say, you see, if you want to be kind of cultist in that sense. But this is of course a universal poem, and you have to see it from that angle also. But the relationship is very clear also. Why he starts with Grishma, that is summer, and ends with Vasanta, that is spring, is directly connected with these things, with these details in that sense. Now, in Indian literature, there is one great poem describing the 6 seasons by Kalidasa. You must have heard of his name, Kalidasa, of course. And his poem is called Rutu Samhara. Rutu Samhara. Rutu means seasons. Samhara means collected together. All the descriptions of Rutus are collected together. And in that sense, we have a kind of a parallel here. There is no parallel of this kind anywhere else except Kalidasa, what we are in Savitri. In English poetry, there are a few small poems describing 4 seasons. They go essentially by 4 seasons, you see. There is nothing like rainy season there, you see. So essentially I got summer, winter, autumn, spring, 4 seasons, you see. But here we have, and there is a small description of some season. For instance, Keats, he speaks of autumn. Shelley, he speaks at 1 or 2 places of spring. You see. In some places, you see. But a complete description of seasons, apart from what we have in Kalidasa, is only present here. Kalidasa's poem is a fairly long poem. It has 144 stanzas describing all the 6 seasons in a sequence. Whereas here we have roughly 100 lines or so in Shivandu Savitri, you see, compared with that. But the major difference between these 2 poems is Kalidasa's is basically a sensuous description of poetry. It is a lover who is describing the various seasons to his beloved. It is essentially a sensuous description on a physical plane, on a vital plane. But here you have got the purity of the spiritual lyricism in the entire description, straightaway. In fact, as we shall see, read this thing, we will see more and more of these aspects in detail. But in fact, I might make one more important point here. If you look at the poetic style which is present from this point onward and what was there earlier, this marks a sudden difference. The earlier parts, all those 12,000 lines, were essentially written by Shivandu in his own hand. Most of the lines were written by him in his own hand. Whereas from this point onward, majority of the descriptions which I got are by dictation. So my feeling is that makes a lot of difference. Writing things yourself and dictating those also get reflected in style. And you can see that the style here is definitely different than what you have in the earlier parts. In fact, we'll see those things as we proceed more and more in that connection. But it is important to know that there is a difference in the style. Here you have, particularly in this book and in the next book also, more of lyrical quality. Lyrical quality is very strong. Pure lyrical poetry is what you see here in these 2 books, book 4 and book 5. Book 5 particularly, you see, Earlier, very dense, solid, very occult, of course, very spiritual all through. But here, it is spiritual lyricism, which is what is coming out most prominently in this part. You see, I have compared here the lyrical quality of this poetry. For instance, if you take kids, in kids, what you have got? Minute details of description. It is romantic, but very minute, small little details, very beautifully described here in kids' poetry. In contrast to that, Shelley has a wide sweep of description. He goes from one range to the other range very rapidly, in wide manner. You see. Kalidas, as I said earlier, is more sensuous, erotic almost at times, you can say. He tends to be that, you see. It is a love poetry for him. Whereas in Savitri, it is spiritual lyricism of a high purity, of a high nobility, which is coming from the purest kind of a psychic, which is what you see immediately when you start reading those things. You see. Now, at the same time, some of these interesting things. See, take this line for instance, 93.15. Next page only. Next page. Here, now here you see how he gives certain similes and things like that. This is what I am simply pointing it out here. What does it say here? This is a line here. Even when no turmoil vexed air's somber rest, or a faint ray glimmered through weeping clouds, as a sad smile gleams veiled by returning tears. Now, as a sad smile gleams veiled by returning tears. It's a very delicate kind of a description. Sad smile is one of the most original kind of a simile, you see. As a sad smile gleams veiled by returning, the tears are returning, and it is veiling your face, you see. Now, this kind of little detail, delicacies which are there, that is the beauty of lyricism of Savitri, you see. As a sad smile gleams, veiled by returning tears. The clouds are coming, the rains are there, and the sad smile is veiled, covered by that kind of a things. That is what you get here, you see. Now, these are small little delicacies of poetry also, which are very important to really see Savitri from that angle. See. Now, I will read here one stanza from Samaveda, how he describes the 6 seasons. It's very ancient Veda, you see, maybe 7,000 years old or so. You see. And there is a Vasanta Innu Rantyo Grishma Ranyo Vashanya Nu Sharado Hemanta Shishira Innu Rantya. Let us rejoice Vasanta, let us rejoice this season, let us rejoice this season. That is how he keeps on chanting for all the 6 seasons. Why rejoice? It is in them that we grow. It is in them that our progress becomes possible through this season. It is through this season that our yajna, our tapasya, our spiritual pursuit can become better and better and more solid. That is how he keeps on describing the meaning of these seasons, that the seasons are actually for us to go forward by developing them. Is Agni, the spring, is mightily praised. You gladden us mightily in the summer. Agni, the fire, the mystic fire. You gladden us in the summer. You gladden us in the rain tide. You gladden us, be praised, in the autumn, in the winter, in the frost. You gladden us mightily and are praised. Throughout the seasons, all the seasons, it is you who are really giving us all happiness, all joy, all plenty, spiritual happiness, spiritual gladness. It is that which you get from you here. And it is for that purpose we keep on constantly offering ourselves to you. This is what the praise actually means here. See. Now, the word in Sanskrit as I said, Kalidasa's poem is called Ritu Samhara. Ritu means season here in a general manner. Samhara means gathering together. Now, Ritu has a deeper connotation. It belongs to the Vedic term called Ritam. Ritam. Now, there are two types of truth. One is Satyam and the other one is Ritam. The truth of existence is the Satyam. Truth in its dynamic movement is Ritam. Dynamism is what you have in Ritam. So it is the dynamic truth which is what is embodied in these seasons. Seasons means it is the dynamic movement of what? Based on truth. The things are moving in the world of truth, in its own force, in its own consciousness, its own dynamism. That is what the Ritu means. So when you are describing 6 seasons, it means that kind of a connotation that it is the dynamism of the truth in the manifestation which is now being helping us to grow further and further. So in that sense, the description of Ritu Samhara takes you, the description of season takes you from one type of truth which is spiritual until now into the dynamism of truth. Savitri's work is the dynamic aspect of establishing a new manifestation, creation, activity, and the dynamism comes with that, which Savitri is coming here, you see, in that sense, you see. So, Ritu is a very rich word in the Sanskrit language, and its root is, as I said, Ruta. Ruta means truth in dynamism, in activity, in action, you see. In fact, the Vedic theory is that all the meters, poetic meters, chandas as we call them, are the moments of truth. The poetry itself, the metrical form, is actually having its origin in the moment of truth. So when you have got Gayatri mantra or Anushtupa or any other mantra, they have got the rhythm of the truth which is taking you forward all the while, you see. So in that sense, we are now entering into the dynamism of truth with these seasons here, you see. Now, the first line is a, well, all lines are like that, but the first line is a very mysterious line, very difficult line, very simple line also. And he says, a minar of the cycles of desire. A minar of the cycles of desire.
What is Mina?
But
What is this?
Mina.
yeah, I'm going to explain. Yeah. Okay. In
Nobody knows.
Next week.
what happened?
Nobody knows what
I
Mina
was
is.
translating. Some translation was
Mina.
the hair of the animals.
The hair, the mane of horse.
No. This is not Minot. This is a woman who is in a frenzy, who is joyous, happy, frenzy.
A woman.
Woman. She is Minot is a woman in frenzy. Huh?
A mermaid.
No, it's not mermaid, it's another thing. No. Minot is basically a woman in frenzy. Very joyous, happy, as if drunk and then full of vitality, vivacity, like that, you see.
Drunk of happiness almost. Drunk of happiness.
She is the.
No?
Yeah.
Fille de joie.
Pardon me?
In French we say fille de joie.
Fille de joie.
Fille
de joie.
Maybe possible, but Minot is. But basically, Minot is the.
Joy,
Yeah.
drunk.
Yes, that's right. But this is. This is basically
There is also exuberance.
Greek mythology. It belongs to Greek mythology.
Exactly.
Greek mythology.
Mythology, yeah.
This is Greek mythology, basically. She is the worshipper or follower of Dionysius, Bacchant,
Oh yes.
who is the wine god,
Bacchus.
joy of mermaids,
Bacchus.
Bacchant. Yeah.
Dionysius.
She is the worshipper of him.
The friend of the wine god.
Yeah, wine god. Yeah. She is always in a frenzy, happy.
Okay.
Everywhere, you see. And therefore he starts with that thing, a minar of the cycles of desire. Cycles, you see, immediately she is happy, lustrous, moving, all merrily, everywhere, you see, like that, you see. careless, no worries. I mean, nothing can impede her. You see. She is just moving. But where? In cycles. Cycles, because the cycles are coming here now, you see. Cycles of desire, you see. Now, our desire, you see. Now, again, we'll see what that desire means. But let us first read the sentence. Start with. Yeah. A minute of the cycles of desire around a light she must not dare to touch. Hastening towards a far-off, unknown goal, Earth followed the endless journey of the sun. Earth followed the endless journey of the sun. Basically, the descriptive sentence is this one. Earth followed the endless journey of the sun. Sun here is capital. The supramental sun. Earth is following the journey of the sun. She is guided by that. Earth here, of course, doesn't mean the planet Earth. Now, you have to now use this thing figuratively in a different sense altogether. Earth is the evolving soul of this creation, of this mortal world. And it is that soul which is following the cycles of the sun, which is following the supramental light day after day, or year after year, or cycle after cycle. It is that which is being followed constantly here. So that is the. So therefore, who is this Minad? Minad is nothing but the earth.
Exactly.
Grammatically, Minad stands for earth. Or earth is described here as who is in frenzy, who is joyous because she is under the light of the sun, supramental light. It is that beauty, that joy which is driving her in all her frenzy, all her movements, all her vivacity, all her life. It is a richness of life force which is described here by means of a Minad. The word Minad is very, very descriptive in that sense.
Yeah.
As a Bakan, no?
Yeah.
As a Bakan. She is the worshipper of Bakan, you see. Dionysian, you see. A Minad of the cycles of desire around a light. Again, light is capital. Here is, she is cycle, therefore she is moving around. Okay, around what? Light. The supramental light. She must not dare to touch. The light is so bright, she dare not touch it. Because the moment she would touch it, she would be burnt. So she would keep herself away, and yet she is moving around the light. And hastening towards a far-off, unknown goal. Why she is moving around? She doesn't know the goal. But she is constantly moving rapidly, because she is a Minad. She is in a hurry. She is full of energy. She is full of energy, you see. She is full of energy, and therefore she has to move on, you see. Hastening towards a far-off, unknown goal. The poet is not telling you what is that goal, etc., etc. is there, but he is describing the picture, what the earth is supposed to achieve or what is to do. Around the whole thing is around the sun. In other words, it is the evolutionary soul of the earth which is now being governed, which is being kind of guided in her movement by the supramental light, the sun himself. This is what the description means here, see, is it? A Minad, the cycles of desire, around a light she must not dare to touch because it is so powerful. Hastening towards a far-off, unknown goal, earth followed the endless journey of the sun. It has been going on and on and on for ages, all through, you see. Now, he says cycles of desire. This is important word, desire. Desire we have to understand in different connotations. See, actually, when you are using these words in the context of Savitri, you have to build up your own dictionary sense. It is not really. You have to build up your own dictionary sense for each and every word, because the same word desire in different contexts has different connotation in Savitri. Here it has one sense, here it is slightly another one, and all of them are applicable. Here you could say urge, longing, it can be lust, it can be craving, it can be possessive nature of things, it can be all those things. So in what context, where it is used, you have to be a little careful also while seeing the dictionary also, that sense. Now cycles of desire. I have made a collection of here of how the word desire occurs in Savitri. By the way, this line, let me tell you something interesting about this line. A maenad of the cycles of desire. Now, grammatically, from the point of view of poetry, the stress, the accent where it falls, a maenad of the cycles of desire. See, on me, psi, desire. Three words are accented, 3 syllables are accented, others are not accented. So here the way in which you read it, a maenad of the cycles of desire. That is how you will build it up, you see. A maenad of the cycles of desire. And you break the fourth like this. A me, that is the first means short, long. Not of, short, not of, short. Then the cycles, then again short, long. Then again of cycles of short. Then again desire. Now desire can be put short, long, or short, long, short. Or sometimes it is desire, means you make it 3 syllables. Sometimes you can also make it 2 syllables, depending upon how you want to pronounce it. You see. So the whole line will be a maenad for the cycles of desire. See, here the tendency is, while reading this line, because it is coming at the end of the line, the sentence, the word desire, you tend to make it trisyllabic, 3 syllables. Desire. See, you won't say desire. You see, you say desire. It kind of prolongs. So when you are reading this line, you have to also make a note of this nuances also. A maenad of the cycles of desire. In terms of poetic quality, we would say that a maenad means I am, short, long. The second is not of, it is short, that is Pyrrhic. So you have got I am, Pyrrhic. Then again I am, Pyrrhic. Then again desire, short, long, short. What is called amphibrach. In poetry it is called amphibrach. So you have basically here I am, Pyrrhic, amphibrach, clinching the whole issue. So the poetic technique
It's a technique, huh?
is important.
It's
You have
the
to
rhythm.
appreciate that. That's the beauty of poetry.
Electric quality there.
Yes.
It is clinching the whole issue straight away, you see, by putting that, you see. You can't change the word, you can't change the order. It has to be in that manner, you see, exactly. You see. A maenad, the cycles of desire. You have to see that thing and then allow the rhythm to settle down also, you see.
Maenad of the cycles of desire.
You want to chant together, all of you?
Yeah, we can do. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
A maenad of the cycles of desire.
A maenad of the cycles of desire. A maenad of the cycles of desire. You see. So that is how the force comes, you see. The cycles of desire. Suddenly you get a different grip of
Yes, a
it.
different grip, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is important. Now, I was telling you that I have made a little quick survey of the word desire, which occurs at a few places in Savitri. How the nuances change the meaning. Now, actually, we have already seen this word desire appearing right at 5.1, everything. A worse desire compared with mortal birth. A worse desire. See, there